This one comes to us from the Salt Lake Tribune, and it's about it's always a conservative state representative because that's what our government's made out of. State.
We didn't cover that there's the single black legislator in Utah is trying to get slavery off our Constitution.
And facing pushback from it, which is...
Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. It's probably why we didn't cover it. It's really fucking tragic. Good for her. Good for her. But capitalists aren't going to get rid of slavery in prisons. That's because they're terrible.
So this conservative asshat by the name of Merrill Nelson, who's a Republican from Grantsville, plans to introduce during this legislative session, which would block Utahns. That's what we call ourselves here. A citizen of Utah is a Utahn. Yes,
it's not even spelled correctly because it would be spelled Utahan. That would be Utahn, right?
No, it's Utahan.
N. That is apparently the stylistically correct way to spell it, which is I grew up here, okay?
Welcome
and
to
I had to be
correct Utah on that. English.
I had to be corrected. I grew up here. I was born here. And they're like, no, that's not how you spell Utah. And I'm like, yes, it is. And they're like, okay, you're technically correct, but that's not how anyone spells it here. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, just take, for example, the town of Mantua, which in this state is pronounced Manaway.
Yep, that makes sense.
Mantua.
Tooele. Tooele is a fun one.
Thule.
Hurricane.
Oh, God.
It's spelled hurricane. It's spelled
hurricane.
Hurricane.
But it's pronounced hurricane. Lazy as shit Utah pronunciation of shit.
What? Who? How? I don't even understand hurricane. Again, born and raised here, guys.
Or my favorite is when my wife inadvertently sometimes will say pillow or milk.
Yep.
Do you not hear yourself? You're not saying milk and you're not saying pillow.
Yep.
You're saying milk and pillow.
Hello.
It's lazy as fuck. It's so fucking lazy.
I don't know. I don't even
Just
know.
like this Utah representative here who's going to be trying to pass legislation that would block Utahns from changing the sex listed on their birth certificate and leave only two designations, male or female.
Right. Fucking what?
How about those folks that don't fall into those categories? Fuck all them, right?
6 common human genders, or sexes, excuse me. Genders, kind of whatever. Yeah. Kind of a fuzzy thing. There are 6 common human sexes, and yet we're still so antiquated in birth certificates as a nation.
There's only 2.
As a world. There's only 2. There's 6 common human sexes.
So,
why are we even putting sex on a birth certificate? That doesn't even make any. Why?
Why does this matter to these people at all?
Why do we need that?
Those naughty bits from that child, need to remind you, are not going to be anywhere near your mouth or other reproductive regions until they're much older. It's like
they shouldn't be certain Jews.
So Merrill Nelson, which during the legislative session, which will start this upcoming week, will require individuals, including those who are transgender and gender non-conforming, to keep on their birth certificates the sex that they were assigned at birth.
I read a comment on this article, by the way, on the Salt Lake Tribune. One guy's grandmother, the doctor just checked male accidentally.
So she's been male her fucking life.
Yeah, according to this law. Yeah, according to this law, she's a man. Neat.
So amazingly, this lawmaker could not be reached for comment.
Wow.
Yeah, that shows a lot of fucking, support that you have with your own legislation here. So Nelson wrote up he said that HB 153 is based on scientific and medical fact that an individual's sex is determined at conception by chromosomal makeup and is not subject to change or self-determination later in life. Gender changes. Sex may be something completely different. However, it is not just male or just female.
No, it's not. Sex is most
Gender
commonly...
is a social construct. Sex is genetic.
Yeah. And sex is determined by hormones, chromosomes, and there's another one.
I was going to make a joke answer, but it doesn't deserve it on this one. So
hormones, chromosomes, and physical anatomy. Okay, sorry. Those are the three important things. And you could have two of those and still be with that are typically male and still present female.
So we've got a handful of people in the state that are against it. You have Troy Williams of Equality Utah, which
of course.
Equality Utah's don't give your money to them, give it to better groups. We have Misty Snow, who says that who is a transgender woman who made history by winning a U.S. Senate nomination last time around. What was that, 2016?
Yep. Yes, it was. She worked in the same building as I did.
She said it's a bad bill built on discrimination. I agree with her. The ACLU of Utah has labeled it as unconstitutional. Former Republican state senator Steve Urquhart pushed gay rights legislation during his tenure, asked, why did they feel the need to do this?
Oh, I can answer that one. I know. You see, the representative that is pushing this bill is actually his full-time job, because our legislature is not full-time here. His full-time job is actually for the LDS churches law office.
Oh, he's virtue signaling. Okay,
got it. It's the Mormons. The Mormons again.
It
comes Mormons, down to the Mormons. We don't have a democracy here in Utah, everyone. We don't have a democracy.
So the Senate sponsor of the House measure is Senator Ralph Okerlund of Monroe, says that the measure, quote, just makes sense to me.
Oh, good job. What?
Yeah, you're not trans. Fuck you, dude. He said that it's a vital statistic, one that's created when a person is born.
Why is it a vital statistic? Why?
Because we need to know. We need to know what's male and what's female. Because
we need to control women's bodies. Cis women's bodies. Actually, no, that applies to trans women too. We need to control women's bodies. We need to determine how they behave, how they exist. We have to own them. And you see, if women get to choose for themselves how they look, how they behave, how they reproduce, and when, then we can't control them anymore. And then what the fuck we can't have a patriarchy under that system.
Well, and to a lesser extent, this is a state very, very positively, as I've talked about in many fucking groups on Facebook, that is very much pro lopping the foreskin off again. So yeah. I'm just saying, to a lesser extent, they also like to control men as well, because,
two people outside the state who are looking at my top right now. It's a little bit booby, but that's just because I have a lot to go with. But you wouldn't look at this top and be like, oh, that's, wow, what a outrageous top.
No, in Utah, that's offensive.
There are places I cannot wear this without people actively stopping to give me dirty looks. If not, say something to me.
Yep.
There are most places in Utah where this gets really nasty looks, where this isn't allowed in buildings. Not workplaces. I'm not talking workplaces. I'm talking public areas where they would tell me to cover up. And yeah, I was not modest enough. And if it was up to here and there was no cleavage, no, this is still way too enticing. That is the level to which this state wants to control women's bodies. And this includes trans women and men's, because they want to force men into reproductive roles too. It's very disgusting, really.
Merrill Nelson, who's currently a lawyer at the LDS-aligned Curtin McConkie Law Group, which, hey, everybody, for the longest time, you were able to quit the LDS Church just by submitting letters and stuff. Now they're involving fucking lawyers, and this is
what?
The group. Yeah.
Like they're a fucking social media account?
Pretty much, they're making it even fucking harder for people to just quit. So who also represents the Church of Jesus? The Mormon Church. You're not going to get me to say your fucking long ass fucking name.
The Mormons.
Had previously hinted during the interim that he intended to run this kind of bill, and he was the single opposing vote during a Judiciary Committee meeting in August on a potential committee bill to establish clear rules for legally changing the sex designation on a birth certificate. One guy can destroy all the chances of something happening.
It's really disgusting. I don't know what to do. I'm angry. I feel like we need to protest. I feel like we need to, like, the day that they're voting on this, we need to show up. And I want to stand with my fellow sisters, and I want to stand with my the men in my who need their body affirmed, their lives affirmed, their autonomy, their actual autonomy. But they don't want women to become men, and they certainly don't want men to become women, whatever the fuck that means. They have to control us. They have to, because if they don't control us, if they don't control our bodies, then they can't maintain a patriarchy. And I'm seething. I'm seething. And I've actually hit up Misty Snow on what we can kind of do as a praxis. So, like, yeah, I'm actually talking with people.
So this
I can't.
He's not decided to check with anybody outside of Kurt McConkie on this whole thing about gender and stuff. Todd Weiler, who's a guy who I don't enjoy for the most part, he's a Republican for Woods Cross, says that he questions Nelson's logic in pushing an opposing measure on this whole thing, because the state seemed to be heading towards an area where we were going to allow changes to birth certificates out there.
Yeah, there's a case going to the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court.
So, and then you have all these other groups that are like, why don't you talk to people that are transgender and understand this? Why don't you talk to these other people?
No.
Well, here's what the final rub that we're going to talk about here, and this is probably where we're going to end it, is that Nelson told Utah Policy on Tuesday that his proposal had nothing to do with the church. Had nothing to do with church, as some
nothing at all. Oh,
but let's keep in mind that the current church leader, Dallin H. Oaks, who may he die quickly because he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, they're just going to replace him with just another terrible human being.
Yeah, I'm just hoping maybe we'll rifle through enough of them, we'll get somebody that's not so bad. You know, I miss the days of Gordon B. Hinckley because he at least wasn't such a fucking positive. He wasn't such a prick to everybody out there. Dallin Oaks is just a fucking mean-spirited old codger. Anyway, he said in October,
the Republican Party isn't racist and sexist and disgusting and bigoted as fuck. What?
So in October, Dallin Oaks said in a speech that gender is eternal and members should oppose pressures to make changes that confuse or alter gender or homogenize the differences between men or women.
There's not that many differences. We are not that different. We're not that different. I am so sick of this. Like, even Thomas Smith, who I consider a friend and who I talk to regularly, he was like, you have to admit there's some differences. It's like, I get, like, when I'm fucking them, like, there's so few differences between the sexes that it doesn't fucking matter. It's so negligible. It's so negligible that, like, it seriously matters when I'm, like, literally fucking them and the rest is around patriarchy. Like, that's it. So, like, I don't know. They cannot handle acknowledging that we are just so much more similar than we are dissimilar, that we are the same fucking species, that because if they do that, then that means they have to grant equal autonomy to women, that women can wear pants whenever they fucking want to, and that God isn't a man, because that doesn't make any fucking sense if the genders are just about equal. None of it makes it. Their religion doesn't make any fucking sense, and their patriarchy goes to shit if they acknowledge that we are equal. Oh, there's difference between men and women. Yeah, we all exist on a fucking spectrum. So the fuck what? Gender is a fucking spectrum. It doesn't fucking matter. This is not a big fucking deal. Like, I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of this fucking argument. One more person, please ask me, so you think men and women are exactly the same? Like, I don't fucking know, man. It's all a fucking spectrum. What the fuck do you want from me? I am very different than X here. I am a very different person. We agree politically on just about everything. But I'm still a very different person. I am a woman. I identify as a woman and femme. I identify as femme. That's just patriarchal bullshit is what that is.
Actually, I found out earlier today I can't do that on Twitch. If we were on Twitch, we couldn't.
What? No male
they
nipples
don't allow
on Twitch,
male nipple either. No, but YouTube's fine with it.
I mean...
YouTube's the platform for me.
All right, then, I guess.
People weren't expecting that one. I probably just shocked a whole bunch of people because I haven't done that in like 2 years.
When I talk about trans rights, I want to make it clear that I'm not making this about cis women. I'm not making this about men. I know that like a lot of fucking idiots think that I don't care about men or that I hate men or something like that. I don't know.
No, you love men. You're in a relationship with one right now. And you hang out with 2 of them on the weekend all the fucking time. So.
Yeah, but I have a male friend is not an excuse.
No, just like I don't have a black friend. Right?
Yeah, exactly. What I do think about is the well-being of men quite a bit. And their ability to live flourishing lives. And when I think about the ways patriarchy treats men, it makes me really sad a lot of the time. And I don't want to make this about cis women when we're talking about trans women. I want to be clear that I'm talking about the control of women's bodies, whether they're trans, NB, or cis. Like, to me, they're women. I believe that. I don't just like say that. It's the way I think about them. It's the way I think about these women, and it's the way I think about these men. And it's just it's not right. It's just not right. These people deserve a place to live and jobs and healthcare and to determine how their body should function. Like, Utah, smoking is legal in Utah, and that's like just straight up bad for you.
For now.
Oh, they won't get rid of that. They need the tourism. But somebody making a healthy and affirming decision for their body, it disrupts their system. That's the problem, is that it disrupts their system. Smoking doesn't disrupt their system. Smoking kind of affirms their system.
So, I just want to round it off here. Keep in mind that this guy he works for the law firm that represents the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You know, the Mormons. They're always going to be
the Mormons. They're the Mormons.
He represents that segment of the Utah legislature. The thing is, there's not a lot of people that agree with that anymore, because just like the whole gay thing when it was the 90s and the 80s and stuff, where people were like, anti-gay, I'm anti-lesbian, I'm anti-homosexual, until they have someone within their family that is that way. Trans is just the next curb that these fucking bigots have to get over. Even though it's something that I think should have been tackled at the same time, they're finally having to realize that, like, people are just implicitly who they are, and we should take them at their word for who they are instead of, trying to second guess the shit. So it does make me feel good that Utah is at a point where, for the most part, like I was saying, Senator Urquhart saying that I'm okay with it. I'm okay with Nelson not having his way. And we have a handful of other people within the legislature saying, what the fuck are you doing? I even saw fight back from somebody else saying, yeah, if you do this, it's going to put Utah on the map like how North Carolina was put on the map,
yeah,
this kind of thing. And so we don't want to be a national laughingstock for the most of everything. I mean, even Gary Herbert.
Even Gary Herbert was against it, and I was just like,
yeah, our governor, guys. If you don't know who that is, Utah
don't
very much wants to stay
I don't trust
under the fucking radar when it comes to being national news.
Yeah,
we don't want to be the laughing stock of the country. We are often, but we don't want to be.
Yeah, so. That's because, again, laughing stock threatens their dominance. It's fine. It's fine. We don't have a democracy here. I want to make it very fucking clear. We don't have a democracy here in Utah. Also, trans people, your identities are valid. Your personhood is valid. Your gender, we see you. Love you. We believe you. I think about you all the time, and I'm with you. We're with you every step of the way.
Absolutely.